Hello, hello. So thrilled, so honored to talk about something very important to not only, I believe, women specifically, women who are moms, people who are driven and really want to love their life now. Maybe you have little kids, maybe your kids are about to graduate, maybe you are a new empty nester and you just want to take a second and appreciate your life and also go after some music in your heart, the pull, a goal, a bucket list item. Like, I don't know what that is for you, but today in this message, I really want to start to uncover and unpack the tension that can exist in having thankfulness and having desire, being grateful and wanting for something. Why those two things should coexist, and why they don't coexist in our life. Like, what are some of the mental junk, the mental, if I'm going to use a garden analogy, like, what are some of just well, I don't understand gardening enough, but like, what are some of the roots that just need to be pulled out so that the soil can be better and healthier, and then things can grow? Because I promise you that you meant to grow. I just got word that you are meant to grow. And so whatever is happening in your brain around your current life and where you want to go, I really believe it can be reconciled. And I talk to a lot of students. We have coaching programs. Um, we have a sell your offer challenge where we coach all the time, all types of different people. And I'm hearing women specifically say, I have a dream. I want to grow my business because we help people sell. So they're selling for their business. I want to sell. And I also feel like I should just be thankful for what I have. I want to sell more. And what if I make more money and I don't even recognize myself anymore in a bad way? So there's all these thoughts that are coming up. And when I titled this video, I should just be thankful. I really wanted to pull that out and show, what does it look like to just be thankful? You know, the word just, it means like correctness, or that's what should means. I should just be thankful. So should is like, I could like just correctly do something. And just is like, well, alone. If I'm thankful alone, then that's the right thing to do. And how many of you have thought that? Like, well, if I'm just thankful, everything will be okay. That's my obligation, is to live a life of thankfulness. And like I said earlier, I really want to invite you to reconcile the relationship, not to have an either or mentality around thankfulness and wanting and desire, but how can they both exist? So first, before we get into that, I'm excited to like flesh this out a lot. But what even is thankfulness? Because you hear it a lot. I'm a Christian. We work with a lot of Christian women, and so thankfulness is a huge part of Christianity. It's a command, is to be thankful. And so I'm like, okay, that's obviously important and we like really must live up to it. So what does it even mean? Right? What does it mean? Because you can easily go through Thanksgiving holiday, you could tell your kids, be thankful for, the gift card that you got or whatever. You could just rattle off thankfulness, or you could like truly understand. And the word thankfulness, by definition, thankful and grateful, they mean to be pleased and to be relieved. Have you ever heard somebody talk about thankfulness like being relieved? Ever? I know I haven't. Ever. I've felt the relief, and we'll get into that momentarily. But how interesting. How interesting to be pleased and to be relieved. I like to think of thankfulness as taking inventory. So imagine that in taking inventory is like acknowledging and looking through what you already have. If you're going to go to Sephora for makeup, it's probably a good idea to check your makeup bag to see what's expired, what do you need, what do you already have before you go spend money, right? Inventory is just a smart thing to do. So imagine inventory. You're walking around your house and you're starving. You're starving. You know that feeling where you just like keep checking the fridge, keep checking the pantry, and you're like, I want something new to show up there. Okay, well, imagine you're walking around your house and you're thinking that you don't have food. I don't have any food. Like, I'm upset, I'm frustrated, I'm hungry, I'm hangry. You're just walking around your house, upset. And then you decide, I'm going to go check the pantry. I'm going to check the fridge. And lo and behold, it's full. Maybe it's not has every food you want, but there's enough that all those feelings you have, you feel relieved. You're pleased. You're, oh, perfect. There's turkey and there's bread. I can make a sandwich. I'm so relieved because I'm starving. That's the power of taking inventory. And not taking inventory is that feeling of lack. I want you to hold on to that. Not taking inventory is when you actually think and feel that you're missing something that's actually there, but you're not looking at it. And that's what happens when you're not thankful. Is you imagine things are not there, but they are there. You know, the word pleased and relieved, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. And just yesterday, the night before, my daughter and I were sick. And she's 5, so she can finally talk to me when she's sick, which is a whole world has opened up. And you know that when your child is sick or someone you love is sick, they're just not themselves. And even if your child is like psychotic and they're just like bouncing off the walls and you're like, please just for a second, you know that when they're sick, all you want them to do is blabber their head off, right? And it's sad to not experience that. And last night she was all better. We're both better. And as we were going to bed, I was just telling her how thankful I am for her. And when somebody recovers from being sick, you're so relieved. Like, gosh, I'm just like so I am pleased and I'm relieved. I'm glad to have you back. Right? Because if you feel like you lost something, you were lacking. I was lacking a healthy child. I was lacking her spirit. I was lacking her entire, full being. And, you're kind of scared. Like, well, is this going to be bad or is this going to be okay? Like, whatever. Every time, parent things. And so having her be able to sleep and just healthy and smiling and saying prayers together, I was like, okay, I'm so relieved you're back. I'm thankful for you. And it's just different. And I just want you to think of thankfulness through a little bit of a different lens of I'm not lacking anything. Again, we'll get to that more in a second. So let's unpack desire then. Okay, so if that's thankfulness, taking inventory of all the things you actually do have so that you lack nothing. Desire is to wish for a strong feeling of wanting and longing. Other words are yearning, aching, craving. Kind of crazy, right? They're very strong words. And when I came to them, I'm like, all right, let's talk about yearning and aching and craving then, because desire, when it comes to thinking I just need to be thankful, this can feel very tense. Like, oh, well, craving is bad because craving is like sugar and alcohol and bad stuff. Like, how can I crave something good, right? Like everything in our society is all about craving bad stuff. If you think about it, if you have a different thought, I would love to hear it. But by and large, our culture always talks about craving stuff that's really not the best for us. So no wonder our automatic thought is wanting things that don't really benefit our life and the people around us. But I don't think it has to be that way. I do not. And typically, when people think about what they desire, what they want, they think about what they don't yet have, right? Like, I want a six-figure business, so because I'm only making 5,000 a month now. So I want to like double my revenue. I don't have that yet. I want it. Okay, great. And so a lot of times what happens is when we live in the either or life, we start to notice all the things we don't have in our pursuit of wanting more. So that's where this is why we need to reconcile. Do you see? Because this can so easily get off kilter and off balance. And there's plenty of things that you could want that you don't have that I think personally are not bad at all. You could want a relationship, you could desire to be married to someone who loves you and thinks that you hung the moon and they're proud of you every day and they think you're beautiful. You can desire that. You can desire a certain type of house that gives your kids the space that they need as they're teenagers. You can desire a garden because you want to learn and grow and cultivate something. You can desire all types of things that are just neutral. They're not good or bad, they just are. And the thing about desire is that a lot of times we judge the fact that we even have a goal. We judge it. See, desire is actually a feeling, it's not a circumstance. It's not possible. A goal is a circumstance. Here at Guide Culture, we've set the goal and the vision to have a $20 million business in the next 10 years. I think it'll be less than that, but that's just a goal. It's objective. And I want to show you how you have the choice actually, if you desire it the quote right way or a way that takes you down a really strange path that messes with your brain in all types of ways because desire is just a feeling. It's just a feeling. And Dennis Waitley in the book Psychology of Winning talks about how desire pulls you forward like a magnet. I want you to hold on to that word, forward. Desire pulls you forward like a magnet. And so desire is not a thing that it's not the goal. Desire is not the goal. It's not even your thought about the goal. It's a feeling. Desire is not even an action that you take. It's just a feeling that you have. Why does this matter? Because I think that you are confusing desire with other feelings. I think you think that your desire is the goal, that wanting a paid off house, wanting a bigger car, wanting a bigger business. Like you think wanting it is objective and then it will make you act all types of crazy ways and you're not going to like how you turn out. And I really want to prove to you that the goal or whatever the thing is that you want is actually neutral and you get to choose how you think about it. You get to choose the feeling that develops, the actions you take, the person you become on the way to getting it, to having it, and how that could be the best part of it all. If and when you're also thankful. So I want you to think about your goal really quick. Because if it's true, okay, for argument's sake, that what I'm saying is true, that the goal you have is objective. I could look at your $75,000 goal and be like, easy. Someone else could look at it and be like, why do you need that much money? Okay, same goal, two different judgments. That proves very quickly and simply that the number itself does not present an actual issue. The way we think about it does. And as I'm coaching people, what I'm seeing, hearing, observing is that people are so afraid of how they imagine getting to that goal. What are they going to have to do to get there? Who are they going to become? What are they going to have to give up? Who are they going to hurt? What are they going to sacrifice? And what kind of person am I going to be once I'm there? All those thoughts, very much of the time, are worst case scenario in people's heads. I'm going to have to do things I don't like. I'm going to have to become someone I don't like in order to hit this objective goal. And so by definition, if desire is just a feeling in your body, it's just a feeling, then it is not possible that you're actually feeling desire if that's how you're thinking. If you're thinking like I'm going to have to sacrifice time with my kids. I'm going to have to neglect my husband. I'm going to have to ignore my family in order to hit this goal. It's impossible for desire to be a byproduct of that kind of thinking. And so if you're afraid of how you're going to act, how you're going to be, who you're going to be on the way to what you desire, it's only because of the inches between your ears, that part of your brain that is choosing to think about this goal that way. And you have a choice. Okay. So let me just show you some quick examples and then we're going to flesh this out. So I know I keep saying six figures. I just, I hear this a lot. You could be wanting to hit seven figures. You could be wanting to go into eight figures like we do. You could just be wanting to start a business. You could be wanting to do a million different things. Have the garden. Please have the garden. That'd be great. But money seems to mess with people the most. And so I have more money content coming. But imagine that you have the objective goal of my business hit six figures by the end of 2024. Cool. If I were your coach, I'd quickly and easily help you strategize that, teach you how to sell. It would be a wrap. Easy. Good as done. Okay. That's how I think about it. But what comes to people's head is a thought like, well, I'm probably going to have to neglect my family. I'm going to miss out on time with my kids. Now, just take a second. When you allow that thought, I'm not going to have one-on-one time with my kids. Does that produce desire? Because feelings are byproducts of the thoughts you have. All the time, this is how people work. This is how the world works. This is how the brain works. I'm not making this up. So does that thought, I am going to neglect my family or I'm going to miss out on one-on-one time with my kids, does that produce desire for you? No, I bet it doesn't. It probably produces something more like guilt. And guilt feels gross. Guilt feels like, I mean, I don't know where it hits for you, but it's like, to me, it's like a knot in my throat and in my chest. Like, ugh, I don't want to do that. I just want to I'd rather just be sick than have this feeling. And so many of you are walking around like this. And no wonder the actions that follow something like guilt are, maybe you're hiding your business in the closet. You're not doing anything at all. You're putting a pause on it. You're sabotaging your plans. No wonder. No wonder. And you settled for saying, I'm just going to be thankful because you don't know how to desire the right way. And if you had a money goal, again, you could tell yourself, well, if I make more money, then I'm going to be self-absorbed. I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to sin a lot. Okay, I just want to point out that is a thought in your head, a story you're telling yourself. No one is making you do that. Nobody is making you do anything. Money is objective, and people do all types of things with money, for better and for worse. And that is why one of our missions in our company is to persuade for good, because good can be the byproduct of your communication, of your earnings, of all the things that you get in life. Good can be the byproduct. Okay. So if you think money's going to make me self-absorbed, you're probably going to feel a little ashamed of that goal that you have. Right? You could be at a business conference, high as a kite, but the second you get home and it's quiet, you're just like, oh gosh, this is kind of selfish. I'm kind of self-absorbed for wanting this. Are you going to feel desire? Are you going to want it? Are you going to have the pull, the magnet that pulls you forward? Are you going to be the demonstration for your kids that is in motion towards something bigger than you? No, you're not. So you're overriding any possibility of even getting what you have. And no wonder you're not happy with your actions of avoiding your work, of sabotaging your plans. And I just want to invite you and share the good news with you that you have a choice in how you think. You don't have to believe everything you think. Just because you think this is going to make me self-absorbed, like take a minute. Like scripture says to take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. Okay, so that means that you can actually question it for a second. Like, am I going to be self-absorbed? Like, I don't have to be. I could be. I don't have to be. I can decide right now how I'm going to treat money. I can decide right now to grow my capacity to be selfless today. And I think that the more capacity you have to be selfless, the more money is probably going to come to you. And the more you're going to let it flow. You're not even going to be attached to it. Okay, so what if you chose the thought, okay, you have your money goal for your family. I want my family to hit $250,000. Let's just say that's what you want. And your thought is excited, or your thought is like, I can make money and be so responsible with how I manage it. I can make some money. I can have the goal I desire as we think about it, and I can be responsible. How's that going to make you feel? Probably more excited, more determined. You're actually going to feel that desire, that pull to go after it, right? I don't know what it is for you, but I'm sure it feels better. And so the actions are going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to go investigate being responsible with money. I'm going to go journal about it. I'm going to go dig up all the crud that has kept me from being responsible, from pursuing my dream. Right? So you have an option of how you think about this, and it directly determines how you feel, how you act, and the results that you get every single time. Every time. So the whole point of me, well, actually, I want to give you one more example, and then I'm going to move on to fleshing this out. We work with a lot of female entrepreneurs, and a lot of them have the desire, the goal, I should say, to write a book. And they have the goal to write a book, and almost immediately after, they are afraid they're not going to be present with their kids because it's a big project. I'm afraid I won't be present with my kids. And again, that's going to produce a feeling of like dread, of the guilt and the shame. But you could choose instead, say, I don't have to settle for that. I don't have to think that. It's not helpful. It's not helpful. So I could think, I'm going to go after this and block off one-on-one time with my kids every day. I'm going to go after this and time block time with my kids. You have a choice. How would that make you feel? I don't know about you, but I'd be busy and I'd be having kids. So that feeling to me makes me feel free. I feel like I can breathe. Like I can see my schedule when I tell myself, hey, you can time block writing a book and you can time block time with your kids. And they're probably going to get 10x value from you by you being present instead of regretting the work that you didn't do and feeling obligated to time with them. I don't feel obligated to time with anything. I feel honored to have time to write a book for you, for the people who will read it, and honored to have time with my kids who are growing and healthy and at cute ages. So I just want to show you that you have a choice. You have control over how you act on your way to your goal. If you decide how you're going to think, the story you're going to tell yourself, okay? It's amazing. So desire and thankfulness, as we've fleshed out so far, they are not in an either or duel, okay? They're not an either or duel. They're actually roommates. I love to think of them as roommates. And they're not the kind of roommates that don't like each other because they don't do the dishes and slouch on the couch all day. They're roommates who love to live together. Okay? So, my goal for you is to embrace both and at the very least acknowledge that they have a relationship that is worth discovering and pursuing. And maybe you need to, if you're resisting what I'm saying right now, maybe you need to just walk away and listen again tomorrow and just see where it lands with you, okay? But just acknowledging this relationship could really set you free. So as we talk about this relationship, I really want to show you how I have thought about this. And it's in the form of a quadrant. So this quadrant has 4 parts, of course. And on this vertical y-axis is going to be thankfulness. So thankful. And then on this horizontal x-axis, we're going to have desire. Okay? Desire. How in the world do they work together? Because I know I feel like I'm already beating a dead horse, but like the reason that I repeat, the reason Macy repeats in all of our content is to say things in different ways that hopefully will land better and better. Okay. But the reason that it's so important to talk about this relationship is because it is not black and white. It is not that you either can desire or you shouldn't. You either are thankful or you're not. Everything in your life is melted together. You are a full-on human being with so many thoughts, so many different things, experiences, assumptions, observations that you've made that it's okay for things to cross over. And a quadrant was the best way I could show you how this crosses over. So I want to go in order and then we're going to like do some examples and review. All right. So if let's start in this bottom left quadrant, which is where there would be low desire and low thankfulness. If you're listening to this on podcast on YouTube, this is being drawn for you. And so you can go watch it whenever you want. So low desire and low thankfulness. I'm not going to ask you to think about people in your life, but this might just happen for you as I describe stuff and it wouldn't hurt. And I'm going to try to like prompt you with this so that it feels so real to you how this actually plays out. Like you can either intentionally work on this or unintentionally and you're going to get a byproduct. You just are. So, let's make it the best one possible because when you're have low wanting, you don't have a pull forward. Remember that word forward? You don't have a pull forward. You have no inventory of thankfulness. You don't see what you already have. You do feel lack. Okay? I'm trying to put words to each one of these to keep it really simple. And the word that comes to me most when I think about not wanting, not having inventory is the word aloof. We don't use this word a lot in life, but it's such the word of like indifference. Like I'm so indifferent. Like I don't want anything. I don't have anything. Like why does it matter? And maybe you've had a bad day where you just feel that way. Or you feel blah and you just feel this way, right? You have a moment of aloofness. You're human. The person who I really think about this being is like a grouchy old person. Old person. Like they have decided to stop seeing the future. And maybe they see, oh, all my friends are dying. My health is gone. My back hurts. They're just kind of wasting away. They're indifferent. Whatever. I die when I die. I mean, that's horrible, right? That's horrible. You wouldn't ever want that for somebody. Ever, right? Okay. And even think about your kids or just your best friend or your parent or someone that you adore and you want them to thrive and to grow and to be all that they were made to be. You would never want them to live like this, right? Right. Okay. So, low desire, low thankfulness, I'm sure we can all agree, is not the goal at all. In fact, when I think about old people, Macy heard from an eye doctor, I think she said that the people who live the longest and with the most joy at the end of their life are old people with a garden. And I find that so interesting. And so, why is that? Well, the reason is because when you have a garden, you have something you are doing and working on and looking forward to. The fruition of what is to come is in you, creating something, helping something become, you learning, intending to it is huge. Okay, so that's just proves that desiring something alone is huge. Okay, so let's go now into what happens when you um, have high desire and low thankfulness. So we've been in the low thankful category. And this is why it's so important to be thankful. Okay. We're proving the case for why thankfulness is so important. But this right now is high desire and low thankfulness. What do you think of when you think of people who want a lot and it comes from a place of lacking? I don't have it. They're walking around their house and they're like, I want food. I want food. And they like haven't even checked the inventory. How are they going to feel? Frustrated. If they looked around on Instagram at all the people who were eating, they'd be like resentful, right? Impatient with the people around them. Just so irritable. So irritable. I don't even know what word I want to pick. I'm going to pick the word frustrated. But all of those words matter. You want something and it's coming from a place of, I don't have it. I don't have other stuff that they have. That's when you get in trouble. This is where desire will get you into trouble. And I want to point out it's not the desire that is the problem. In this case, it's the lack of thankfulness that's the problem. And I think it will become more and more clear as we move around here. But this was funny because last night my kids got home from school. And because Lucy and I had been sick, we had blue Gatorade in the house. And of course, that's a treat. So it was the first thing she wanted when she got home from school. And Judah, my 1.5-year-old, he was so upset that she had the Gatorade and he didn't, just screaming. I'm like, okay, Judah, like, Lucy, can I have some of your Gatorade? I'll pour it in his cup and then he can have some and so can you. Perfect idea, right? Like, what parent doesn't just like compromise a little, So she's like, sure. So I show him, I'm like, hey, you see this Gatorade? I'm pouring it into your cup. Here you go. Was not good enough. Was not good enough. He wanted to hold her bottle and was screaming. And so I was like, hey, Lucy, I'm sorry, but we got to put that away. I cannot listen to this. But you know what I thought of was this 1.5-year-old little boy did not even have inventory of the Gatorade he done had. Upset me. I said, he does not even care. He's not even grateful that I poured him Gatorade because he wants hers. And how often do we walk around like impatient, frustrated toddlers? I said it. But that's us. And it's not desire's fault. Wanting Gatorade is not the problem. That's not the problem. Let's all agree that my Lucy wanting Gatorade and saying, oh, yeah, perfect. That was yours anyway. You already had it in the fridge. And Judah saying, no, that's not good enough. I want hers. That's the problem. And it's human nature. And so that's why it's so important to reconcile and build a relationship between these two, because it's not one or the other. It is both that we need to understand in order to have a fulfilling life, a developed life where you can be unrecognizable 1 year from now. You can be a different version of yourself at the end of today than you were when you started by developing. Okay? But I'm just going to just chill for a second because we're getting there. But do you see? High desire, low thankfulness will get you into trouble, period. All right. So next, let's talk about, I want to talk about high desire and high thankfulness. We're working our way counterclockwise. High desire, high thankfulness. Now this is pretty obvious where you would hit a sweet spot, yeah? You have full inventory of all that you have. Full inventory. I am full to the brim. I know that I have everything I need. I have everything I need. And the desire to want more. This is when you are operating from abundance. People talk about that a lot, right? Like operating from abundance. And if you think about selling, for example, if you sell something, this is why in our trainings and our coaching, we focus so much on your mindset. If you can't tell, like I value that because from your mindset derives all the ways that you feel and all the way that you act. And it will either give you it will give you a result for better or for worse. So we best get it right from top to outs, bottom. Okay. So when you operate from a lack of nothing, you can sell from a place of abundance. You can sell from a place of, I don't need anything from you. I just want this for you. And I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to grow into who I need to be to articulate that to you. I want to communicate that with you. I want you to understand how important you are, how important your goals are, how important your dreams are, how important your health is, how important your family is. I want you to see why it matters. And if you want to work with me, then by golly, let's get you to where you want to go. That is how you sell from this place. And the word that I love to use here is inspired. Inspired means like of the spirit. And when you are full and you see a vision for the future, you you have no you're like a car with gas in it that has a map. Wouldn't you much rather have a car with gas in it that has a map than a car that doesn't have gas or a car that that doesn't have gas but it has a map? Can't do much with that. Can you do much with a car that doesn't have gas, doesn't have a map? Can't do much with that. But a car that does have gas and does have a map, ooh, honey, 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 it's a wrap. What can't you do? Where can't you go? And like I said in the beginning, people are so afraid of where they're going to end up. Well, guess what? You get to decide. You get to decide what turns you take. And I don't know about you, but as a praying person, I pray every day for myself, for my kids, for my family, for our company. We have Macy and I pray before every presentation we do. And 99% of the time, unless I forget, it is guide us along the right path for your name's sake, or along the right path. I don't want to take wrong turns. And if we do, please correct us. And if a door needs to be shut, please shut it. And if a door needs to open, please open it. If our names need to be in rooms that they're not in yet, please have our names be spoken. And if they don't need to be, protect our reputation. All types of things can be prayed on the way to your goal, but you're not out of control. You are not. You're not going to spin out of control unless you depress your system, which is what I want to get to next. You push down the feelings of want. You push down any feeling, you push down any thoughts that could create desire, and you turn to guilt into shame. That's when you're going to avoid praying. You're going to avoid praying for development in yourself, for growth. And you're going to just settle for feeling like unsettled because it's not healthy for you to not develop. Okay? And only this wanting, like wanting a garden. I mean, think about how people ate before we had like the food system we have, and even the food system we do have, the cattle ranchers and the farmers, like hello, they want to produce. And you can want to produce too. Okay? So let's get into our last quadrant, which is low desire and high thankfulness. And the reason I saved this for last is because the tension is so high with thinking Well, if I'm just thankful, it will be okay. That's all I need to do. And maybe you can start to see this relationship really building out. But if you're just thankful, what does that leave you with? What does that leave you with? And my biggest heartbreak in this situation is not that you're just thankful. It's why you are choosing to just be thankful. And it's out of that guilt of how you're going to act, how you're going to be. Like you just imagine the worst case scenario of your life. You're going to overspend, you're going to go into debt, you're going to neglect your family. You're going to sin like a ton, right? Like why are you imagining the worst case scenario for this when you have a choice? You can decide how you think and feel and act on the way to that unemotional goal that you have. Whether it's to be a full-time mom homeschooling your kids, planting a garden, or having a seven-figure business, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want, you can either become the best version of yourself or the worst version of yourself on the way to that. But I just find that money specifically, growing businesses, seem to bring out the weirdest kind of like, I say weird because I mean like jacked up thoughts about ourselves. So we got to talk more about money for sure. Okay. And if you have thoughts, questions, drop them in the comments. I would love to talk about it. Um, the word that I think and I observe that comes from high thankfulness and low desire, what I see the most is complacency. And it's interesting because people talk about contentment, right? And like how scripture will say, Paul says when he's like in prison, I've learned to be content in all circumstances. Right. Yeah. Content, meaning like I have what I need. I have what I need. I'm thankful. I have what I need. And what else does he say? I've run my race with endurance. I've run my race with endurance. Run toward what? Run toward what? We all know what he's running toward if you know scripture. But just think about it. Like that's a want. The desire in his case to make God's glory famous, to make Jesus' name renowned among the nations of that time and forevermore, that was his desire. So he ran his race. That thought produced desire. Right? But if his thought was like, I'm doing this for me, I'm doing this because my name's gonna be all up in the Bible and like that will make it weird, he would have guilt and shame and he would not have done any of it. But it wasn't about him. Just like I hope your business isn't about you. And if it is, that's the mental crud that you need to work on, not your goal. Don't make your goal smaller. Make your mind cleaner. Okay? Drop my pen. So when people are complacent, it's not the contentment that you think it is. Because a lot of times people will end up thinking like, okay, well, this is just how it is. My inventory of what I have, it's just how it is, and this is how I like it. This is good enough. Steady, stable. And I am trying to emphasize that it is good to know what inventory you have. It is good. A scripture that comes to my mind as I think about stuff like this, and as I was reconciling it with myself, was in Psalm 23, it says, "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. I shall not want." Hello, this seems like the command is to not want. And not only do other translations say this, but I looked up in Strong's Concordance, which is where you can find the origin of the actual word used in whatever language it was, which in this case was Hebrew. It is literally translated into "I lack nothing." I lack nothing. And so lacking nothing goes back to taking inventory, right? I lack nothing. I can operate from that abundance, just like we talked about here. High desire. So yes, that does point toward I know I'm taken care of. I know we got this. And that 100% is a necessity. Operating from I lack nothing. But when you think like, "Oh, okay, so if I lack nothing and I shall not want, then how could I possibly desire more?" And not only was I just talking about Paul running his race with endurance, for what, right? For what vision? Because without vision, people perish. Vision for what? Vision for something farther out. Vision for something you have to work toward, right? Like it is good to develop. It is good to go out there. It is. And I think about Ephesians 3 also that says, to the God who is able to do immeasurably more than all we could ask or imagine. How does that partnership work? It doesn't happen by being idle. It happens by partnering, being thankful, having a full to the brim heart, mind, spirit, and giving it all you got, using the health in your body, the breath in your lungs to serve the people around you, to love God and to love people. I really believe that. I really, really believe that. Because there is more, and I promise you, the thing that I wish, I mean, I guess I struggled with this a lot. That's why I'm so passionate about giving this and unpacking it. Um, but what I've experienced over the past 4 or 5 years, rapidly, it happened throughout my life, but really rapidly, as I've, just helped grow this business and sold stuff and helped people and everything. The person that you are and are on your way to being when you have a vision, when you're full to the brim and you have a vision, you are becoming, in my opinion, more Christ-like. Staying still, not growing, not developing, not learning, feeling guilty, feeling shame, feeling torn, feeling spread thin, that is not Christ-like. It is not. And if you think like, okay, I am full and I have a mission. I am full and there is something out there that I can have. And what's so interesting is the power of wanting. It's not like okay, my office, I got my office done. People are like, okay, but like if I want my office done, then that means I'm going to have to like sell stuff. And like, what if they don't like want to buy it and they get all this crud in their head? I'm like, okay, what if? What if the desire wasn't just for a thing? What if it was for a grander vision and who you had to become, the work you had to do, made all that having desire is just a feeling, desire is not an object. All the tangible stuff of life, it just turns out to be some byproduct reward that just is what it is. It's just evidence of all the ways you've helped people, all the ways that you have grown into someone that people want to buy from, that people love to work with. You help people so much that people talk about you and more people buy from you and they pay you for it. They want to pay you for it. There's wait lists for it, right? So the power of wanting is actually that it kind of forces you to be the right person and do the right things so that you can have the life you want. It's the byproduct. It's not the motive. It's the byproduct. The motive really is who do I need to be on the way to that? How do I run my race? How do I do this? Because there is a finish line somewhere. And maybe it's the day I die. That's my finish line. But I'm going to run. I'm not going to stay still. I'm not going to be idle. I'm not going to feel guilt. I'm not going to feel shame for living out my calling. And everybody's calling is different. So whether you do need to homeschool your kids and you want to bring in revenue to do that, go for it with all you have and believe that you can have time for both. That is in your control. You can be the best mom and the best businesswoman you can on the way to that. You have a choice. And I believe that when you embrace these two, you will have an inspired outlook. You will inspire others, and you will be unrecognizable to yourself, and you will be free. So I have a practice for you. I learned this in my life coach certification through the life coach school. And it was talking about goals and wanting. And um, so I want to give you like a mental exercise to marry these two things and let it blow your brain up. So I want you to not only practice gratitude, which you may be doing already or maybe more familiar with. So it's so funny. People are familiar with thankfulness, they're familiar with like goal setting, right? And I don't think we've ever really married them like we're about to do. So I want you to make a list today of all the things that you want, all the things you desire. And just like we opened up with, most people, they're going to make a list of all the stuff they don't have yet, right? Like the type of house, the business, the school their kids go to, whatever. Here's the trick. Because it's our tendency to want what we don't have, even though desire is only a feeling, it's only a feeling. What if you made a list that included things that you don't have and things that you do have? It goes something like this. Now, this is like a list for me, but yours will look maybe similar, maybe different. So I could want things I don't have. So I could say like I want a finished basement. Okay, I don't have that yet. I want a finished basement. I want my kids to be so happy when they share a room upstairs. I don't have that yet. They're about to share a room. Pray for me. I want guide culture to hit 20 million. I don't have that yet. Okay. And then, like after your like third or fourth or fifth thing that you don't have, insert something that you do have. I want a husband that loves me. Now, some people are praying for that and they don't have that. They do want that. They don't have it. I'm deciding to want it and I do have it. I want a husband that loves me and thinks I'm beautiful. I want a business partner that loves and respects me. Oh, I do have that. So like I want you to practice wanting what you don't have and what you do have. And what's so interesting is that I was talking to my husband about this actually, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm like grateful for stuff." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. It's not the same." Because wanting or being thankful that your kids are healthy is not the same as wanting them to be healthy. Just like I talked about Lucy. She's she's over her stomach bug thing, and now I'm like relieved. And so if I just think like, "Oh, I just want Lucy to be healthy," the second I realize, "Oh my gosh, I do. I have a healthy child." You're filled with a lightness, a relief that is thankful times 10. When I think about, gosh, I just want a business partner who like understands me and loves me. And I realize, oh my gosh, I have Macy. I have Courtney. I have the whole team. Like, oh my gosh, I'm like so thankful. The wanting actually helps you be and like activates your thankfulness. So practice wanting what you already have. I want like I want to be able to walk. I want to be able to walk. Oh my gosh, I can get up and walk. Do you see? Do you see how this works? You can want what you already have and and have the desire for things that are not yet had and still be full to the brim. Full to the brim because that is how you take inspired action from the spirit where you're free. Okay? I hope this served you. I hope that it gave you a perspective shift. I hope that it's something that you can chew on, listen to again and again, that you can share with somebody. Feel free to comment and ask questions about it because this is a topic worth unpacking more and more and more. So I love you and I'll see you on the next video. For now, I'll see you next time.